If you're still clinging to humility in 2025, you've already lost. You think being quiet, modest, and humble is going to get you respect? No, it's going to get you ignored, stepped on, and forgotten. Let's destroy that illusion right now. The lie you've been spoon fed your whole life by weak parents, average teachers, and a comfort obsessed society is this: if you're humble, people will eventually recognize your worth. False. You could be the most talented, hardest working, high performing individual alive, but if you hide, if you stay quiet, you'll watch men with half your skill win the game because they weren't afraid to demand what you stayed too polite to ask for. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is survival. You either dominate or get dominated. See, society has brainwashed you to think that humility is some hidden virtue, that it's the secret to earning respect, unlocking doors, and achieving greatness. It's not. In fact, the way humility is sold today, it's one of the most psychologically damaging programs running in your mind. From childhood, you're taught, sit down, be quiet, don't brag, don't make others feel uncomfortable. You're warned, confidence looks like arrogance, and speaking highly of yourself, that's boastful. They sell you the myth that true strength is silent. But here's the truth they'll never say out loud. That version of humility is a weapon, a tool used to keep you small, manageable, and invisible. The world doesn't care how humble you are. It doesn't reward silent struggle. It doesn't give trophies for modesty. People notice what you show them, not what you hide. So when you downplay your value, when you mute your progress, when you keep your wins in the dark, you're not being noble. You're training the world to ignore you. The man who walks in and owns his greatness, he commands attention. The one who sits quietly hoping to be recognized for his humility, he fades into the background. And it's not just a matter of being overlooked. That version of humility is a form of self-sabotage. It's rooted in fear. Fear of standing out, fear of judgment, fear of discomfort. You tell yourself, I don't want to make others feel small, I'll tone it down, I don't need the spotlight. That's not virtue. That's psychological surrender. That's weakness wrapped in noble packaging. Every time you mute yourself, every time you pretend your accomplishments don't matter, you hardwire the belief, I don't deserve to be seen. And that belief becomes identity, and that identity becomes your cage. The world doesn't reward potential, it rewards presence. If you're not seen as powerful, you won't be treated as powerful. Understand this. There's a difference between being humble and being grounded. Being grounded means you know who you are. You don't need applause or validation, but you also don't hide. You don't shrink. You don't dim your light to protect fragile egos. And hiding who you are out of fear, that's not humility. That's weakness. People stay humble not out of virtue, but out of fear. Fear of being targeted, fear of standing out, fear of being called arrogant. But if you ever want to lead, if you want to build an empire, if you want to win in business, in life, in relationships, you will become a target. And that's a good thing. If no one's coming for you, you're not even on the radar. Being humble might make you likable, but being powerful gets you results. No one remembers the polite guy in the back. They remember the one who walked in with presence, spoke with conviction, and didn't wait for permission to succeed. Let me say this again. Most people confuse humility with virtue, but in truth, it's fear. And fear is the graveyard of potential. You've been taught that humility is the moral way to live, that boasting is bad, that certainty is arrogance. But the people you admire most, they don't whisper about their purpose, they shout it. They don't apologize for winning. They expect to win. Because humility doesn't drive them. Obsession does. Mission does. And when you're locked in on your mission, you don't stop to make everyone around you comfortable. You move forward like a storm. Humility is praised by society because it keeps you tame. But winners, they're not tame. They're relentless. They're focused. They don't care about fitting in. They care about rising, building, dominating. While others worry about stepping on toes, the winners are asking one question: what does it take to win? And if that offends people, so be it, because you can't play to win and play not to offend at the same time. In 2025, success doesn't go to the most talented or the smartest. It goes to the most visible. You can be a genius in the dark, but no one's looking for you because attention is the real currency and confidence is the magnet that draws it. The truth? People follow certainty. They trust confidence. They're drawn to presence, and they'll ignore talent if it's too quiet to notice. You've probably been told, if you're good enough, the world will find you. No, the world doesn't find you. You have to make it notice. Stop waiting to be discovered. Stop hiding in the name of humility. The louder, bolder, more assertive version of you is the one that gets the rewards, not the quiet genius, not the modest workhorse, but the man who demands space and owns it. Visibility beats virtue every time because visibility creates opportunities. It opens doors talent alone never could. That's how average men become legends, not by being better, but by being bold, by being seen, by showing up without apology. So while you sit in the corner, waiting to be appreciated, someone half as skilled is winning the game because he had the audacity to speak, to post, to promote, to dominate. This is why you build a personal brand, why you own your message, why you stop muting your wins. Because in the real world, people don't follow shadows. They follow signals, signals of power, of certainty, of belief. And humility? It kills that signal. It weakens your voice. It dims your presence. So here's the question. Are you going to keep pretending humility is a virtue when it's clearly holding you back? Being humble in this world is like walking into a battlefield with no armor, polite, respectful, and utterly unprepared. You think you're being noble, but you're broadcasting to the world, I'm no threat. And in any environment that values strength, that's a problem. Because this world is full of predators, not just obvious ones, but co-workers, partners, competitors, even so-called friends. And they're all scanning for weakness. And guess what humility signals? You won't push back, you won't demand more, you won't fight for your place. You'll accept less, and not because you're unqualified, but because you train the world to think you are. That's what happens when you play small. You become invisible, forgettable, replaceable. And the people who rise, they carry themselves with certainty, not because they're better, but because they know perception drives treatment. Presence drives opportunity. Confidence isn't earned after you win. Confidence is the fuel you need to win. And humility, it kills momentum. It slows you down. It makes you wait. Wait for praise. Wait for permission. Wait to be seen. And while you're waiting, someone else is already winning. So if you're serious about rising, about winning, about becoming a force, stop shrinking. Stop hiding. Stop calling fear humility. Own your value. Speak with power. Be visible. Be loud. Be undeniable. The world doesn't reward polite players. It rewards those who walk in and say, "This is mine. Now move." Men today are silently battling issues that no one talks about. Low self-esteem, porn and masturbation addiction, obesity, lack of focus, discipline, and purpose. If this sounds like you, it's time to change. Now, you don't become a real man by accident. You become one by mastering your mind. Your thoughts create your reality. If you can't control them, the world will control you. That's why I created the Chad Mindset, a powerful course designed to reshape the modern men. Because most men today are weak, feminized, unmotivated, and depressed. The Chad Mindset has already helped 7,000 plus men to reclaim their masculinity and take full control of their lives. If you're ready to level up, build mental toughness, and become the strongest version of yourself, start with the mindset. Start with the Chad Mindset. Get the Chad Mindset from the link in my description. And Libebu, Konsu. Embrace your masculinity. Master your discipline. Become the man you were meant to be.